I want to bring it back to understanding that the philosophy that our office has is that we believe your body is a self-healing and self-regulating organism, and that all we need to do is remove interference from your body. We add stress and strain to our body every day, and our bodies are built to handle stresses and strains. They absolutely are. When the body becomes overwhelmed, when it becomes too much for our body to handle, we go into a stress response. One of the simple ways that our body responds to too much stress is a subluxation. You think, well, how does stress in my mind create stress in my body? Well, it absolutely does, and that's because we are a single being. We're not separated, our minds and our bodies. They're one. And the more that our body is under stress, the more our mind will be. And the more our mind is under stress, the more our body will be. We have a nervous system that connects us. Our brain and spinal cord send signals out to our whole body, and it receives signals from our whole body. And there are many books written at this point, but to connect the fact that every single cell, tissue, and organ of your body has a receptor on it for the emotions that we create in our bodies. So the chemicals that are created due to different emotions, we have receptors on every single part of our body. I have to share this. We've been working with a patient for many, many years. And we started to kind of go down the path of nutrition for her on top of her adjustments for her gut. Her digestive system was in shambles to some degree. And we did tests. We found out a number of things that were not working well with her digestive system. And we started to correct those with certain enzymes and probiotics. And she definitely started to feel better. She was definitely not at a place where she felt she should be or could be, but she was better. This weekend, she was at the in-laws, so we can already add stress to that probably, right? But she was at the in-laws, and unfortunately, the in-laws brings back to her a lot of childhood trauma, unfortunately, just being there. And so if you could imagine, there's just a stress of Thanksgiving, maybe having to be around people that you're not used to, or that maybe bring back more stress to you. You can imagine that the emotions are pretty strong there. And what she noticed, and this is just absolutely wild, is why I'm sharing this. We talk about holiday mindfulness, that she was mindful enough because this person really works on herself a lot to realize that her digestive system took such a turn of dysfunction that she bloated almost 2 pant sizes in one day just from being in that situation. She didn't eat anything different. Yeah, it was a holiday. She could have had more junk. She really did. She was eating her diet that she normally would. And she realized that her mind and her body were directly connected, and that the stress of her body, her mind, totally influenced her body. So I bring that up because the story itself can start to help us to be more mindful. We need to listen to our bodies. There's a law of recuperation that we're going to get more into next year. There's basic laws that our bodies need to follow. One of them is about recuperation and rest. If your body's not getting it, it will try to tell you it needs it in one way or the other. So during these times, when we need to probably go, 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 we may need to slow, slow, slow. There's an acronym that has been taught to me in many coaching circles and life improvement that it's called the word boss. So we need to be the boss. Sometimes we're the worst boss for ourselves. Okay. We need to start to really be fully present. So when you look at the acronym BOSS, if you're starting to get in a stressful situation, or before you get in that stressful situation, or you're right there in the midst of it, I want you to remember this acronym. It's called BOSS. The B, it stands for be fully present. When stress happens to most of us, we probably start to just get busier. We start to find more things to do. We don't pay attention. We don't become present. We become more disassociated. We become more distracted. See, when we're distracted, it's easy for us to just forget or ignore the stress that's really brewing. Okay. When we talk about these times, we need to, number one, be fully present. That's the be in boss, be fully present. That just means pay attention. The most important things that we're dealing with in our lives, ultimately, we want to focus on is our family, our faith, and our friends, and meaningful work that serves others. If you're becoming overly stressed, finding some meaningful things to do for other people may be a wonderful distraction during this, and you can be more focused and be fully present at the times that you may be being pulled in lots of directions. It's just helping someone. That's just born in our nature. It's who we are. So the number one thing is be fully present. That's a B. The O, in the BOSS acronym, has to do with observe everything. So if you can become present, really observe everything about yourself, maybe. Maybe your digestive system's telling you something. Maybe you feel tension or tightness. Maybe there's something. Maybe observe the other person. If this is a relationship and you're trying to maintain good relationships during this time, observe. You may find out if you can become present and observe what's going on, you very likely will realize that there are some unspoken words that are being told through many people's expressions and their attitudes and just their presence, right? Sometimes we may or may not want to observe those, but if we are observing those, we can become more present during this time. So observe. Be fully present, observe everything, slow down, right? Slow down. We have a tendency to, when we're under stress and tension, to speed up. Our bodies were built to do that, by the way, right? If we're in a fight or flight response, what's our body getting ready for? A fight or a flee. So our heart rate's going to be increased, our blood pressure's increased, all the blood's going to our muscles, our eyes get bigger. I have someone who said they have a lot of light sensitivity today, and I was like, immediately realized as I was adjusting her and putting together the pieces of her case that the reason she's that sensitive to light is not just because she has some bad genes. It's because she's stressed. Because when you're stressed, chronically stressed, your pupils, they dilate. They let more light in. So if you get into a lit room and you're just like, oh my gosh, turn down the lights, someone trying to kill me here, that's probably because you're under some chronic stress. So being fully present, I love that I can see people's faces on this. Being fully present, just to understand that is very important. So realize that one of the simplest ways to know how is my body responding to stressors, I may feel okay, but if you're very sensitive to light, you might want to take a note of that. Another simple one would be to scratch yourself. If you scratch yourself and it kind of gets red immediately and kind of takes a little bit to go away, that's because your body is under some chronic stress. So your blood flow is increased and very sensitive. Okay, there's some little cues for you. The stress response is very real there. So we want to be fully present. We want to observe everything. We want to slow down, and sometimes our body's going to tell us this: we need to stop. We just need to stop. So remember to be the boss. Our bodies will stop us if we don't. This is the laws of nature. If we're not recuperating, we're not recovering, we're probably going to get sick. People say it's the flu season. No, it's a season where we start moving more. We probably move a little less, a lot of people. We get less sun. We're stuck indoors. We got more stress. We just got done eating a ton of candy from what do you call it, Halloween and everything else. And so we start saying, oh, we're getting sick more. Well, no, we're just not treating our bodies well. And our bodies eventually say, you know what? I got a bunch of toxins. I have a bunch of undigested junk and I'm overly stressed. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop you. And that's when you get sick. That's when you get sick. So I'm trying to bring all this up in the holiday mindfulness was just a catchy term, but I want you to just always be mindful what your body's telling you. And these times you have more opportunity to take a note of what your body's saying, because there probably will be times and instances in which you have the ability to be under the gun, to be a little bit more pressured on your body. And of course, the newsletter, if you didn't get it, we talked about the breath work that we did in the beginning of the month. But to me, the simplest way to become mindful, to be fully present and slow down is just to start paying attention to your breath. pay attention to your breath. If anyone hasn't been exposed to our brain tap technology, it's not ours. We utilize it to help people. There's a ton of breath work on that. You can get a free trial from us, I think, for at least 2 weeks. It's a wonderful little thing. You can listen to it on your, just earbuds, but you just need a phone app to do it. But when it comes to breath work, there's many ways to breathe. But if you just start to focus on it, you can have a lot of things change. A lot of things happen. So one of the first steps or starts, we call it, is the 4 square breathing, in which we focus our breath on the way in for 4 seconds. We breathe slowly for 4 seconds on the way in. Create that box. We hold that breath, hold it then for 4 seconds. So it's kind of the top of the box. We're staying still. We breathe out for 4. And we just relax for 4. If you repeated that 3 to 5 times, that's a good 30 seconds of mindfulness. And what I love about breath work that I said before, but I'm just going to say it again, it's the new meditation. It's the best way to tap in, to slow down, to take note, and to make physiological changes to your body and your mind all at the same time. Because you can use your body to affect your mind as much as your mind affects your body. And I guess that's kind of the point of our conversations tonight, is the sense that our bodies and minds are intricately connected. They're not separate, and we need to treat it as such. If we are frustrated or not living, our body isn't doing what we expect of it, realize that maybe there are some things that we're not paying attention to in our mind. And, journaling may be a wonderful thing during this time too. It's going to be the last point I wanted to make, other than breath work and bossing. Okay, bossing and breath work. Remember the B's. I should think of a third B. Shoot, Victoria, help me out here. A third B for this. A third B. Boss, breath work, and be kind. No, yeah, to serve others. There we go. Serve others. Be kind. The last point that I think I wanted to make with this, though, yes, is early on, being kind to yourself means starting off the day by not overwhelming your system. If you're someone who is sensitive to light, if your skin is really sensitive, if you know you've got chronic stress, one of the worst things that can happen is the first thing in the morning is that you just you jump right out of bed and pay attention to the news, or you get on Facebook, or you find out what's got the work has for you today. Our bodies don't need to start more revved up. We need to start with an empty tank ready to absorb the stress. And I kind of talked about this. It might have been the last time I did it. I don't remember when, but that doing a body scan with some breath work would be one of the simplest things to do to start your day off in a way that you can be ready for maybe those personal interactions that could be tough, that there's more stress going on. So let's empty the tank. Let's make sure that your tank, you have some reserve to go into the day and start to serve yourself and others in the way that God intended for you. And the way that's going to happen in the morning is this, very simply. Your alarm is going to go off. That might be a stress. Maybe you can learn how to maybe not have an alarm just jam you up. There are ways to wake up with a light in just certain ways. But anyway, I'm a morning person. My body gets me up no matter what happens. So it doesn't really, it's like, ugh, I don't know. I wish sometimes I could sleep in, but that's just not me. But one thing that you can do is if it's the morning, the alarm's going off, you got to get out of bed. You could just jump out of bed. You could get the eyes open and rush to brush your teeth. But before you do that, keeping the room dark, keeping your body in a place where it's soft and comfortable and slow. You just stay laying there for that. Might be the first thing. You hear the alarm, you turn it off, and you stay there for a moment. Your eyes are still closed, and you just start to do that 4 square breathing. You breathe in, you hold, you breathe out, and you relax. You start trying to get in that rhythm, just maybe 3 to 5 breaths. 3 to 5 breaths. If you're so inclined, if you still can focus this long after 3 or 5 breaths, you guys know me. I run fast. I see a lot of people. We do a lot of things. For me, that might be a lot for my brain. But when I can get past 3 to 5 breaths, I can start to then maybe pay attention a little bit to my feet. Just take a scan. Just imagine that scanner, starting at my feet and it's going to scan up my body. And it's coming up and it goes slow. So each breath here is kind of scanning up your body a little bit more. You start at your feet. You work through your calves. You work through your knees, your thighs, your pelvis. The pelvic area holds all of our emotions, all of it. Really slow down there and breathe and feel the breath. Feel the movement in your belly. And then your heart. Your heart wants to give, so really focus on that heart too, okay? Your throat right here, there may be things that you want to say. There may be things that are unsaid. This is your throat chakra. Just pay attention how tight it is. And ultimately, our minds. Our minds, I've said this before, they're a wonderful servant, but a horrible master. There might be a lot running around. You see all these lines? I think too darn much. I need to stop thinking. That's what those lines are. But when we start to just scan the body, feel the tension, feel where it is, breathe a little more in that area. And when you hold and you let go of that tension. If you can scan the body for a couple breaths, you've given your body the energized and prepared way to handle the day. If you want to be in the moments better, if you want to be able to boss, you want to be able to breathe, you got to start the day off right. And I'm not talking about hours of work here, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 1 minute. But challenge yourself before you jump out of bed to just do that body scan. One of the best things you can do. Maybe you're like, well, that's nothing. Well, then great. Journal. Maybe do some breath work for 10 minutes. Maybe, start to definitely, if you're an exerciser, love doing that exercise before you start thinking about the day. Get your body moving. Maybe you need to exhaust it a little bit. Great into exercise. I love that in the morning. This just getting your body prepared in the morning is so important. If you wait till the end of the day to do anything, chances are our bodies are maxed out. They're tapped out. We've tripped a bunch of breakers, so to speak, because that's the analogy I give for your subluxations. You've tripped a lot of breakers. You're not functioning at 100%. The morning you have a chance, okay? So to summarize, our bodies are under chronic stress, constant stress. They may be chronic. If we don't have the reserves to handle them, we trip the breaker. We spill over, we blow up in one way or another. Our bodies overwhelmed will not function the way we want, and our relationships will not be the same when we're overwhelmed. If we can be present, start to observe things, slow down and maybe stop, we have an opportunity to break the cycle of this stress to ourselves. And the last point, let's give our bodies a chance. Let's start the day off with some slowed down breath. Before we open our eyes, before we overwhelm ourselves, let's move, let's breathe, let's think, maybe journal, and get yourself ready so that your body can be the person you want to be. That is holiday mindedness in my lens. I think that's an everyday mindedness. But in the holidays, you have a chance to maybe get a couple of days off and practice this. Maybe you have more time to think about it. This can be a tough time for a lot of people. It could be a joyous time. But for you, just pay attention to yourself and listen and see what you need. We are here for you, always for you. We do this because we know that there is more than an adjustment we can give in adjusting your body is to adjust your mind. And if we can educate you and you can educate others, then I know that my purpose on this earth has been served.